Joining me on the line as he is on the road at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, Jon Schaeffer from We Are Iowa, Local 5, the sports director there. You have a staff now.
I have a two-man department. One of those two is me, myself, and I, and then the other is now Colin Cahill. Yes, so give Colin a follow on Twitter. Tune into him on the weekends. Great guy. Loves his Iowa Hawkeyes. Big fan of all things Iowa. So he joins us from Mobile, Alabama, and glad to have some staff.
When do I get to be like an honorary member? I don't know what I could do for you, but I feel like I could do something.
I feel like I'm more of a member of KGGO radio than you'll ever be of TV.
Oh, thanks.
I'm sorry. I just, maybe if you shave the beard, we can get you a spot on TV.
Is that really what holds it back? The beard?
I think it's the beard. It's got nothing to do with your overall image or personality. It's strictly that beard.
Well, those people.
If I could grow a beard like yours, I would, but my face is made for radio like yours, so there you go.
And that's what the bleep button is for, folks. All right, Jonathan. So as we dive into it, Iowa State's off this week, correct?
Yes, Iowa State's on the bye, much needed. Rest up before Kansas State in 2 Saturdays.
So that takes us to Iowa City, Kinnick Stadium this weekend. The Iowa Hawkeyes going to be playing host to the Nittany Lions. It's a number 3 versus number 4 matchup this weekend. Did you ever? Let's go back to the beginning of the season. Did you ever think that Iowa was going to be in this position?
No. Short answer, absolutely not. They've definitely surprised me. I think that we knew the secondary would be good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect them to be this good, whereas they've created 12 turnovers overall in their first 5 games of the season. And, there's some concern going into that Maryland game. And even after the first quarter, I was like, oh, boy. And then you hate to see it go the way it does for Maryland, but an injury happens, and then Iowa just pounced on Tagovailoa, and the rest, is history. And here we are, number 3, number 4, and 5-0 teams going into Kinnick Stadium with Big Ten title hopes, kind of hanging in the balance, as well as college football playoff hopes hanging in the balance.
Go back to that Maryland game for a second. Did you? I used this line on Saturday when I was talking about it, and it's like it's been a long time since Iowa kicked the soul out of somebody, and that's
they're like.
That's exactly what they
mentors.
did.
Yes, they're like if you're a Harry Potter nut and you want to go to make it relevant for football, they're Dementors, all right? They suck the soul out of you. I went there. And, it's one of those situations where the Iowa Hawkeyes defense is just so good at everything when it comes to taking advantage of your mistakes. They don't make fundamental mistakes like everybody else seems to do offensively. And so it's crazy to me to watch them just kind of suck the life out of teams, because you get angry that you can't take downfield shots against them. So then you start forcing things. Next thing you know, you're just like, okay, I'm throwing my 4th interception in a half.
The defense aside, we know they're great. The offense took a step forward on Friday night, right?
Yeah, I'd say the offense definitely took a step forward. I mean, Spencer Petras looked every bit a quarterback that you'd expect from that team.
It was the first time this season that I went, like during the Iowa State game, I mean, Jack Trice is a tough place to play. I thought they went in, and I thought it went a lot like a lot of Iowa State games go, where it's close, it's, they pound on each other, and, just one of them happens to win, And then the other...
Yeah.
The other non-conference games, it's like, okay, there's some issues there. They looked okay, nothing great. And then this game comes out, and it's like, okay, they may be a top 10 team.
Yeah, and to that point, they might be a top 5 team. I mean, the running game looked like it was right on point. And to me, I get there's a lot of criticism of Tyler Goodson against Colorado State and Iowa State. I don't think it was well placed, frankly. I think those are 2 elite defensive fronts.
Yeah.
And I think, what I've been really impressed with is the creativity of Brian Ferentz to put his offense in situations to make defenses also make mistakes. And so I think the play calling's grown a lot. I think Spencer Petras had a lot of passes on Friday last week where I was like, all right, we got ourselves a Power 5 quarterback now at Iowa. It was quite impressive to watch him dart a couple of those passes in. The one that comes to mind was late in the first half, where he darts it into Tyler Goodson in between 2 defenders. I was like, oh my goodness, he looks very sharp. Yeah, he's going to have some throws, but what doesn't he do? He doesn't give the ball away. He doesn't turn it over. I think against Penn State, that's where we're going to find out the real identity of this offense, because Penn State is number 3 in the country in points per game allowed. Iowa's number 2 in the country in points per game allowed. So that's going to tell you everything you need to know. And if you're a betting man, you take the under, even though it's 40.5.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I don't know who set that, but okay.
I take it.
No,
I'm saying it right now, B-sox.
No, I get it, but no, the Maryland. I want to really dive into the Penn State game here in a second, but
okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's just the last thing I want to say about the offense. That was the first time that it looked like they were having fun. Like it looked like they knew what was going on. The offensive line was doing great, and I think you know what it shows when that offensive line is doing what it's supposed to. It's really good. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like. They finally looked like the Bruce kid, like he looked like he was having a blast. Petrus had a smile on his face. Goodson always looks kind of upset at something, but he looked like he was having a good time with it.
Yeah, and I think Tyler Goodson has a lot more fun than his face exudes. That's just Tyler Goodson. He's very focused, and again, it's a lot easier to have fun when you're dropping 50 points on a Maryland team when people were doubting you. So I think that aspect of things, again, we'll see what happens. But, yes, Maryland, they were having a ton of fun. You watch guys like a Sam Laporta go out on the edge and block a dude out into the boundary, or Tyler Linderbaum curling out on a little pole. I mean, it's nuts to watch these guys. I have to say, I'm really impressed by the QB sneak game, just maintaining its absolute dominance over teams.
Yeah.
For Iowa, I mean, I don't know there's a 4th and 2 that Iowa can never get, because, I mean, you're behind Tyler Linderbaum. You got Potabom pushing him behind him. I mean, between all the bombs, you're good to go.
Like, at the end of the day, does Petrus just go, man, my back hurts?
Yes.
But, you would think some team would be able to stop that by now, right?
You'd think, and then you watch Iowa, and you just realize, nope, not going to happen. You've got a 6'5" quarterback. You've got a giant future top 10 NFL draft pick at center, and then you got Monty Potabom, who's probably just a load behind him. Colin got a great soundbite from Linderbaum yesterday at Iowa's media day or media availability this week, and Linderbaum basically explained what it feels like. He's like, you feel that first nudge, and it's Spencer, and then you really get this big shove on your back, and you're like, oh, yep, there's Monty Potabom. All right, we're good, yep.
Jonathan Schaeffer from We Are Iowa Local 5 on the line with me right now. So let's go to the Penn State game here. Are you going to it?
Yes, I'll be out there with Colin. We've got Cyhawk Game Day live out at Kinnick this year, so for this show anyway. So we'll be out there doing that stuff, and I wish it was a night game. That's my only knock on it, but a 3:00 kick, it's going to be center stage in that afternoon slate. So that's going to be exciting. It's going to be packed.
So Iowa versus Penn State this weekend. Like you said, 2:30 tip, nationally televised. What do you think happens in this?
I'm torn. I think it's a defensive slugfest. It's going to boil down to who makes a mistake. And I don't know if Iowa makes that mistake. It's hard to see them making that fatal one. But at the same time, Penn State's played just as consistent. I lean Penn State in this game. I hope I'm wrong. But just with the way that the Nittany Lions have looked to start this year, it's been crazy to see them just kind of dominate teams. And so I think the edge goes to the Nittany Lions. I think there's some home field advantage, certainly. But, it's going to be a slugfest. I think we're going to see a lot of punting, which plays into Iowa's favor. But expect a physical one.
Yeah, that's kind of how it always is. We were talking about it in the office the other day, and it's like, other than a Penn State game like 10 years ago where Iowa got blasted by them, I want to say it was at Happy Valley, but ever since then, those have been close games, right?
Yeah, last year obviously was a blowout. I mean, you had the Davion Nixon pick six to seal the deal with that one. So that was the blowout. But yes, otherwise, these games tend to be close. They tend to be drag-it-out kind of games, and they boil down to the turnover battle and all that stuff. So I wouldn't expect anything different. I think Penn State, being the perennial power that they normally are, that this is a marquee matchup and a way to put Iowa back on the map as, the real deal again.
It's kind of crazy, and it's crazy to think that should Iowa win this weekend, that'll be 12 in a row for them.
Yeah, 12 in a row, and then even crazier, they will solidify a number 3 spot. They will be on the fast track to the college football playoff.
It's insane. And what's crazy about it, and this isn't like a rub it in type thought or anything like that, but this was supposed to be where Iowa State was supposed to be, right? That's what everybody thought at this point, earlier in the year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at it, and Iowa State was expected to be a team that could be in contention for that. And with 2 losses on their record, that's the playoff is likely out, unless some world crazy catastrophe happens to the rest of the Power Five, then we're probably not seeing Iowa State in anything but a possible New Year's Six Bowl. For Iowa right now, they win this week, they can afford 1 loss and still go win the Big Ten championship. Or, I don't see another loss on their schedule, maybe at Wisconsin, because the Badgers, while they haven't looked good, they're always tough at Camp Randall. And then you got the Big 12 championship. So
the Badgers are
the
bad this year.
Yeah, they're not good. I mean, they've had a tough schedule. Let's give them that.
No, absolutely, they've had the tough schedule, but they just have not looked good. Like they went toe to toe with Penn State beginning of the year, but since then it's like.
Yeah, the offense is not doing anything for the Badgers right now, and that's where their struggles are. And what makes this whole Big Ten scenario interesting is with them having a couple of losses, there's no one else in the Big Ten West that really scares you. Maybe the Huskers come on strong. I don't know. I don't believe in Scott Frost any more than I do. I think you're more likely to see him in like the Game of Thrones spinoff than you are in the Big Ten championship game. So, it's one of those situations where I just think that Iowa's got all the cards kind of playing in their favor. Don't let it go down your leg in this situation, because we've seen that happen with Hawkeyes before where, all right, they're 5-0. They play that one tough game, lose it, and then it just kind of spirals from there, or they'll go lose a game to like Minnesota or Northwestern that they shouldn't, and then who knows. But I think Iowa very much so sets up, prove that they belong in that top 5 conversation with a win this week.
Hey, real quick, did you add another nerd reference during this interview?
I just made reference to a Game of Thrones spinoff. That's all I did. Winter is coming for Scott Frost.
How much of a nerd are you?
I'll be honest. I'm not a huge nerd. I'm not like a World of Warcraft nerd.
Shut up! You shut your mouth.
But I'm more of a all right, give me a good TV show to watch. I mean, if we want, we can go Ted Lasso routes, but right now I'll just stick to my Harry Potter and Game of Thrones references.
It's funny. I just restarted watching Game of Thrones about a week or 2 ago.
Okay.
I've been watching yeah, I know. God, you forget how good the early seasons of that is.
Oh, they were solid. You also forget how gory the first few seasons were.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Red Wedding, that could be Huskers versus Iowa on Black Friday.
Oh, that'd be amazing. God, that's the only one that, you know what? If Iowa goes out, loses to Penn State, it's like, okay. Man, they lose to Nebraska, and it's like, I can't show my face anymore.
No, especially with Husker fans, because even though Iowa's beaten them 5 straight years, Husker fans will dwell on, well, stop living in the past. You mean like you've done the last 3 decades? Shut up.
Well, you know what the weird thing about it is, and not to completely sidetrack this into Husker talk, but there was something I was looking at, and it was a list of claimed national championships for colleges, and Nebraska claims the same amount of national championships as Iowa. They're just in different decades. Each claim 5 national championships. And it just happens
don't use that logic, okay? The 90s are way different than the 50s.
Perfect. One final question for you, okay?
Yeah.
How long is Urban Meyer the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Not as long as, I'm going to say longer than he's allowed in his house right now.
I know we didn't plan on talking about this, but I can't help but ask you. I mean,
no, I think you're talking about a guy who already had question marks of his respectability, which he has 0 now. That locker room is gone. Maybe they're uniting around their loathing of him at this point. But you're talking about a guy that, again, we didn't even think he might make it to game 1 at one point because he wasn't really showing any passion. He hangs back in Ohio after they lose the game on a Thursday night, goes out to the bars. Whoops. Come on, man. You're no longer, you're not even the highest paid person within your locker room anymore. And I think that's the difference between college and and NFL. Like college, you're the man. You run everything. NFL, you're expendable. Like, I think most teams would pay for their starting, like, top 11 players. They're probably paying their top 11, if not top 22, more than they're paying their head coach. So, don't sit there and think that, you can get away with this stuff.
This is a perfect example of the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Well, I think I think Urban Meyer has a problem. I mean, I think more than anything, I think he's shown a propensity to just put himself in bad situations.
Awesome. All right, Jonathan Schaeffer from We Are Iowa Local 5, thank you so much for joining me. Expect to see me in the background of your shots from now on.
All righty, I will bring a cardboard cutout just to make you proud, all right?
There you go. Perfect. All right, man. Enjoy the weekend.
All righty.